Hey, this is Edwin Dearborn, another edition of Growth Driven. How are you doing? I am super excited about this one. This is Chris Rood, and he's going to talk about how to win at real estate, wholesale real estate, commercial real estate, all kinds of real estate. So hang on to your hat. Hey, another edition of Growth Driven with Chris Rood, and we're going to be talking about real estate. Chris, thanks so much for taking time to be here on Growth Driven.
Yeah, man, appreciate you coming on. Always love to talk shop with other like-minded guys. It's a pleasure.
Yeah. So you've been on Grant Cardone. You've got a best-selling book. I mean, so many people know about you. And before we did the interview, we were talking, and I can just tell, just you are driven and passionate about this subject, about real estate. And I know it's such a big topic. And I'm just going to let you roll on what you do, where are you going, what's the future of real estate. Just speak to us about your truth and vision.
Yeah, man. My passion is definitely real estate, man. It's just fun, and it's a game of financial freedom if you do it correctly. And for me, I didn't do it correctly in the early days when I first got in. And, I think for me, trying to give value on this podcast would be to kind of give you guys where I made mistakes and where, if I could do it all over again, where to start and what to skip and avoid those potholes. And for me, I'm a professional real estate investor. Everybody knows me as the wholesale coach guru because I've been on Grant Cardone's show a couple of times, did some work with Grant. But I'm far from just a wholesaler. I'm a professional real estate investor. Wholesaling is definitely one of the things you need to learn. It's I would say it's probably the most important aspect of real estate, and why I almost failed when I first got into real estate, because I didn't know how to find deals, right? I didn't know how to go direct to seller. Right. And if you don't know what wholesaling is, it's essentially the art or technology of finding heavily discounted off-market properties from motivated sellers. And we use different marketing strategies to find these motivated sellers, right? Facebook ads, direct mail, cold calling, PPC, SEO, all these different marketing strategies, right? And what that does is that puts you direct to seller, and that puts you in first position to find a motivated seller. For me, just say a little backstory about me. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad probably I'm 30 now. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad probably about 11, 12 years ago. I was like, man, I want to be a real estate investor, right? I think a lot of us have read Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad Poor Dad. I was like, yeah, I want to buy assets, right? And at this time, I was probably about 28. I did a little bit in real estate, flipped a couple of deals, and at that time in my life, I had owned a bunch of car wash, quick lube, and car wash mechanic shops. I had 4 of them here in my town. But I wanted to get back into real estate because I knew that was the end goal, and I knew that you could build a lot of wealth. Well, after I read Rich Dad Poor Dad, I started buying single-family homes. I bought like $3 million worth of single-family homes by just making a bunch of offers on MLS. I'd make 20, 30 offers with a realtor on MLS. Wearing that realtor out, she was just freaking, she didn't really like me that much because I would, we'd put 20, 30 offers before we'd get one deal. And I was getting marginal deals. I was getting a deal like I'd buy at 80, 85 cents on the dollar. Nothing spectacular. Well, I thought it was cool, right? I was like, oh, I'm a real estate investor. I bought about 33 single family homes. I got them all rented out, and I bought them at 80, 85 cents on the dollar. Well, come about 2014, we had a huge crash in the oil field and basically thousands of jobs. I'm from South Louisiana. We lost thousands of jobs, and everybody started losing their jobs and they stopped paying me rent, right? Because majority I bought nicer single family homes. Well, I went from being a cool real estate investor to, worrying about going bankrupt because nobody was paying me anymore. Right.
Wow.
And I learned a valuable lesson. By the grace of God, I was still learning more about real estate. I learned about wholesaling. I came across this guy talking about wholesaling on YouTube, wholesaling real estate. I was like, what is wholesaling real estate? And basically he was talking about how you can, do some marketing and get awesome deals. You can buy deals at, sometimes 40, 50, 60 cents on the dollar. In some cases, maybe 35 cents on the dollar. You can get these I'm like, how do you get that cheap? Like, I thought I was cool buying at 80, 85 cents on the dollar. Well, I said, let me learn about this wholesale thing, because right around this time, all of my quick lube, car wash, mechanic shops were sinking because we were losing all of our fleet accounts, because we lost thousands of jobs. People going bankrupt everywhere. People losing their jobs. Businesses going out of business. So I hired a mentor, right? I hired a mentor to show me how to wholesale. I actually hired 3 mentors back to back to back. And literally about 30 days after my first mentorship, I had wholesaled about 3 or 4 houses. I made $47,000 on the side while I was still running my shops. And a light bulb went off in my head, because I was like, wow, like I can make $47,000, wholesaling some houses. And what I was doing, and I was just putting out a bunch of bandit signs. They told us in the mentorship, they told us all these different strategies. I picked one and I just mastered. I went and bought 500-600 bandit signs, and I put them all over my town here in Lafayette, Louisiana. Literally, the city officials hated me. I was like the Nazi of bandit signs, because you couldn't go anywhere in my town without seeing my bandit sign. We buy houses. But it was the perfect environment, because right around that time, people were losing their job. People needed to sell their property, right?
Right.
Well, I started freaking crushing. I started buying people's houses at 40, 50, 60 cents on the dollar that were going through bankruptcy or about to have to file bankruptcy. And then I would basically find an investor who was looking for a good deal, like I was before when I was looking on MLS, and I would sell it to him for say 70 or 65 or 80 cents on the dollar, and I'd live in the spread, right? I'd make $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. Well, that saved me from going bankrupt, because I started making 60, 70, 80, 100 grand a month just wholesaling these properties, right? Well, that got me out of the rut I was in, and saved my business, because my quick lube shops were pretty much going under. End up selling off all of my single family homes. A lot of them I took losses on just to get out of them, because just so you guys understand, real estate investing, like, you make money when you buy, not when you sell, right? And those properties that I bought at 80, 85 cents on the dollar in 2010 and through 2012, well, guess what? When 2014 came, all that equity evaporated. You understand?
Yeah.
So that 20% equity position, 15% equity position I
It was
had
gone.
evaporated. It was all speculation, right? And that made me become a lot more wiser to understand that you guys, as being a professional real estate investor, you are getting into real estate as a newbie, you underestimate how discounted you truly need to get properties to become a professional real estate investor, to hedge against and mitigate your losses in the ups and downs of the market, right? And that was huge for me, because I started buying right after that, because I was going direct to seller. I stopped. And then once I got myself caught up and I was better financially, I started keeping some of the deals, started getting into multifamily mobile home parks. And I started, if I can't steal it, I don't buy it. Right. And that's just the honest to God truth, because I was buying at a fair deal, and
Right.
being fair will get you burned as an investor in real estate. When you're a professional real estate investor, be a professional, you have to buy right. And when I say buy right, you got to buy, like, and this is all relatively speaking, depending on what market you're in, because you can't buy something at 50 cents on the dollar in California, right? A good deal in California is 80 cents on the dollar, but a good deal, I can buy deals 40, 50, 60 cents on the dollar here in the South, because it's just different price ranges, but it's all relative. And the moral of the story is you have to buy direct to seller to become a professional real estate investor. The deals are not on MLS. Yes. Can you get deals from expired listings? Every now and then, yes. Pocket listings, yes, but few and far between. I literally dominate the markets I'm in, because I go direct to seller, and I spend tons of money on marketing, Facebook ads, direct mail, PPC, SEO. And that has basically put me in a position where I buy so cheap, I can't lose. So for you guys that are watching this and you're thinking about getting into real estate, wholesaling is the ABCs and the 1, 2, 3s of real estate. I basically got into real estate, but I went from like nothing to trying to go to high school and learn algebra. So in real estate, you got a hierarchy of learning, just like you go to elementary school, then junior high, then high school. You start with the basics, and the basics for real estate is knowing how to find a deal and knowing how to negotiate and all that. And wholesaling teaches you that. by going direct to seller and forcing you to learn how to negotiate, forcing you to get a really good deal. Once you understand the ABCs and the 1, 2, 3s of real estate, which is wholesaling, it branches off into everything else because you know how to buy right. And from there, you can get into, apartments because you know how to buy right. You can get into mobile home parks. You get into land development. You can buy single family homes a lot cheaper to where they cash flow better. And if you need to sell them, you have massive equity position. You can sell it off for a profit and collect cash. You can start flipping houses because you're buying so cheap. The problem with most investors I see is that what they do is when they get into real estate, they get their deals from a realtor or maybe another wholesaler, which is fine. You still get good deals from wholesalers, but that is the roadmap to becoming a professional real estate investor, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And you bring up some good points. And guys, if you're listening to this now or later on YouTube or a podcast, you go to Chris Rood, that's ROOD.com, chrisrood.com. Follow him on social media, get his book. What I like, Chris, what I'm hearing here is something very fresh and very pragmatic, which is get your ABCs in. I'm a big believer in having your fundamentals and basics in before you try to do all this other stuff. And I see a lot of people, whether it's in real estate, business, marketing, whatever, they try to go for the big, I'm going to be just like Grant Cardone and I'm going to do, buy 200 unit multifamily. And, maybe they know what they're doing and maybe they don't. But I think you bring up a good point, which is someone like myself that wants to get involved in real estate. This is a great launching pad for someone like me that's going, hey, how do I start? And number two, I think you also have the right mindset, which is, look, I've got to buy it right. I've got to find the steal, or I'm not even going to get involved in the deal at all. Like, why even do it? So I like that. And I think those are some great takeaways. Tell me okay, we're in 2021. Last year was a crazy year on many levels, but I'm sure you still found deals. Where do you see the real estate market now going, given that the election is over and now we're moving forward after this supposed pandemic?
Yeah, I'm going to, generalize about the real estate market a little bit, but I'm going to be specific in other areas because you can't just brush, a big broad stroke across the real estate market in the US because every market is different, right?
Mm-hmm.
But overall, they push back the moratoriums. People don't have to, they can't be evicted. They can't be foreclosed on until I think after March now. So they kick the can down the road. I do think we're going to see some pain coming down the road because a lot of people lost their jobs.
Mm-hmm.
I do think the foreclosure is going to go up, and I think there's going to be massive opportunities to wholesale, and this is why I like wholesaling so much because it's a recession-proof business. I do well in the up market, I do better in a down market because there's more deals, right? And this is why I like
Interesting.
Yeah, it's recession-proof. So for me, I'm massive upside on the wholesaling business, massive upside on buying multifamily and mobile home parks, specifically mobile home parks for me, because that's my niche. I do have some apartments, but I
Your sound went out there, Chris.
Yep. Can you
Yeah,
hear me?
you're back. All right, good.
So yeah, so basically, I like the mobile home park play because it's for me, it's affordable housing. And I think with everything that's going on with COVID and people losing their job, I think there's going to be a step down for, what's needed and wanted. People, a lot of people like these high end apartments or, nice apartments, somebody like Grant Cardone. I'd rather be in a sweet spot where there's tons of customers, and those tons of customers are going to be in that maybe $800 to $1,200 range in affordable housing. And I have a bigger base of customers that can rent for me. So that's where I'm putting all my chips. I'm stacking all my chips. All the money we're making is we're rolling that into affordable housing, via mobile home park investing, where we're getting really nice we're buying brand new mobile homes, or we're getting like 2017, 2018. As a matter of fact, I just picked up a 2018 yesterday. That's a $60,000 trailer. I bought it for $26,000. It's 2 years old. And we're hauling those in, and we're staying in the sweet spot. So I'm looking for good areas. I'm looking for really good areas and good school districts where I can put affordable housing. And I think that is recession proof. I don't think you'd have to have an atomic bomb go off to destroy that potential revenue stream. I'm not looking at high-end apartments. I'm not trying to, be in a $2,500 to $3,500 a month rent, or even a $1,500 a month rent. Now, that's relatively speaking. If you're in California, $2,000 a month may be your affordable housing, right? That
right.
It's all relative to where you're at. But I'm talking about where
Sure.
I invest here in the South. That affordable housing sweet spot is going to be 800 to 1,200. I don't want to go below 800 because then you start getting into more of a, problematic tenant. But that's kind of what I'm looking at, and I do think it's going to probably hold strong. They're going to, Biden announced that they're going to print $1.9 trillion of new stimulus money. So what's going to happen is, we'll probably see some more inflation. We'll probably see a little bit more. We're going to see some more inflation, which is good for real estate. However, this will not end well. Nowhere in history, if you study the Romans, you study the Phoenicians, the Greeks, they all debased their currency, right? They all did this. It never works out well. So
Ever. Yeah.
Ever. So we have a day of reckoning coming. When that day is, I don't know. They've been saying it's going to come now forever. We may have another 5-6 years before that day of reckoning, but I'm telling you, we will have a massive day of reckoning with massive deflation after that.
Yes, I concur in, I'm telling everybody, including myself on a daily basis, pay off all your bills, get into assets that are going to survive the day of reckoning, because the day of reckoning, like you say, is it tomorrow? Probably not, because they're going to kick that can as far as they can because no one wants to confront it. But sooner or later, gravity takes place and it's going to fall. So you are looking at, and what I like, and what I tell everybody, and what I like hearing in you, is you've got a 5 and 10 year strategy of how you're using your money.
Correct.
Most people don't have that. They're thinking, the next deal, the next sale, versus where's the economy going to be, and you found that sweet spot. Now, you're getting into mobile homes, which is interesting. I was talking to a friend yesterday about some people that are doing that. Why are you doing that? And is it possible for people to work with you? And if so, how?
Yeah. Well, look, I'm not that bright, right? I'm from South Louisiana. I got this funny accent, but what I am good at.
I think you're brighter than you think you are.
Well, I appreciate that, but what I am good at is I like to learn, and I like to read, and I read a lot, and I study people that are really, really doing big things. And I read an article about 4.5 years ago from Warren Buffett about affordable housing. He had bought up Clayton Mobile Homes. He had bought up a 21st Century Mortgage that lends to all the mobile home dealerships and all the people that want to buy. He's financing the mobile homes, and he talked about mobile homes are the wave of the future, because they're the last vestiges of affordable housing. And
yes,
brick on slab, white picket fence American dream is becoming unaffordable, right? Yeah. People can't afford that anymore because inflation. You used to be able to buy a single family home back 30 years ago. You could buy a nice single family home for 40, 50 grand, 30 grand. A nice big brick house would probably, 2,000 square foot, $50,000. And that 2,000 square foot house now, brand new construction, is about probably 300 grand, 250. So it's just becoming unaffordable, and that really made sense to me when I read that. And that's when the light bulb went off in my head that I want to focus on getting into more affordable housing. That's when I started buying mobile home parks about 4 years ago, and I haven't looked back, and it was the smartest thing I've ever done. And I'm urging people that are watching this to take a look at it. I'm not I don't give financial advice. I just look and I think, and it makes sense because it's logical, and that's how I act. And I just know the writing's on the wall that you can't keep on printing money. You can't keep on doing all this deficit spending, and know that we're not going to have massive reset here soon. And I want to put myself in a position where I win, even if we have the reset. And I think I'll win if I'm in the right spot. I'm in the right spot wholesaling, because if the economy goes to crap, people got to sell their single family homes. Guess what? I'm going to wholesale into investors that want to buy those single family homes, those brick on slab, and I'm going to make a profit from it. And I'm going to roll that profit into affordable housing. And I'm going to have a ton of people that want more affordable housing. So I'm going to win over here, and then I'm going to win back over here. And I'm going to sit back pretty in 5-6 years and hopefully have my chips in the right corner, and maybe sell off to a hedge fund when I got about 50, 60 of these mobile home parks at a 5-6 cap.
Absolutely. I know. I think you're making the absolute most logical move is follow the smart money, do it logically. It's like what did Wayne Gretzky? I go for the puck where the puck's going to be. That was his. I know the puck's going to be over there. Where the real estate market's going to be in 5 or 6 years, ish. Maybe 4, maybe 8, whatever. But the point is, sooner or later, that is where the real estate market's going to be. How do people connect with you? How do they work with you if they go, you know what, Chris Rood's the man. He's got the vision. I have a similar vision. How do people work with you?
Well, go to chrisrood.com, and I can teach you to do what I'm doing. I can teach you to wholesale, flip, do virtual flipping, get into mobile home park investing. I have, programs on both of them. If you want to become an investor, you want to partner with me.
Yep.
I have options for that too. We have right now we have 3 mobile home parks that we are renovating. We'll be done with those 3 parks probably by April 1st, and I'll probably go into actively buying probably another 4 or 5 deals again this year. Everything we buy, like I said, if we can't steal it, we don't buy it. Like every deal I buy is literally minimum 14 cap unstabilized. When we finish rehabbing it, it's usually around a 16 to 18. Sometimes it could be a 20 cap once it's rehabbed and stabilized. And nothing in real estate does that. Nothing in real estate I know does that. Because we can buy these trailers, these used trailers for like I said, 25,000 that are a couple of years old that somebody paid 60 grand for, and we haul them into our park, and then we mix that up with buying brand new ones. And my cost per unit is so low compared to, say, a cost per unit on a brick and mortar building when you're building a brand new construction, that your cash on cash return is astronomically better than investing in a fund that pays 4 to 6 cap. It makes sense to me. I don't want to have a 4 to 6 cap. Like I want really good returns. And I think affordable housing, mobile home park investing is where it's at. We bring in some investors. Typically the way we're structuring it, if I find a $2 million mobile home park, it's a 40 unit. I typically like to stay in the 24 unit to 60 unit, because I like that, because the small money can't get into it. And guess what? Blackstone and people like Grant Cardone, they got tons of money, or all these other hedge funds, they all looking for 100 unit, 200 unit. They don't want to mess with a 40 to 60 unit. So that gives me another competitive advantage that I can think with, because I'm in that sweet spot. And that sweet spot is that 24 to 60 unit. Maybe someday I'll get up to the 80 to 100, but for now I like that spot. And that's where I can dominate and buy it at 14, unstabilized, and increase it to maybe a 16 to 18 cap. And what we do is we bring in, let's just say it's a $2 million park, it's a 40 unit, getting maybe $32,000 a month. I got to put down, I find the deal, I get the loan, I get the debt. We got to put down 20%. We bring in an investor who brings the 20%, which would be 400 grand. We give him 30% equity position in the deal. We typically raise the rents, rehab it a little bit. And within a year, we like to refinance, and we give that investor back his money, and he owns 30% in perpetuity, and he gets all his money back. I didn't have to use any of my money to get in the deal. Everybody wins.
Everybody wins. And do you have like a minimum investment requirement that you have people that come to you?
It's just 20%. It's 20% of whatever the deal is. Like, I don't like to, I don't bring in a bunch of investors. I bring maybe 1 or 2 who's like, maybe it's a million. The last deal I did was a 25 unit in Gonzales, Louisiana. It was a $1.26 million deal. 20% of that was $255,000. I found one investor. He just gave me the whole 255, and he owns 30% of that deal. So that's kind of how it works. It's whatever. Typically, I don't buy. I'm not saying I won't buy anything. I just bought a park for $750,000, but it's a complete, rehab. I mean, it's terrible. The whole park has to be rehab. So, but typically, I'm liking to buy more. That 2 million plus is where you get really, really nice parks.
Great. Okay, good. So tell me, Chris, going forward, I mean, you've given me your sweet spot. What I like is you've got a lot of self-awareness of where you belong, and you're going to grow from that platform. Like, you're flying a little under the radar of what the Grant Cardone type guy would do. So you've got that sweet spot figured out for yourself. Are there some other financial plays or investment plays that you see yourself doing in 5 or 6 years? I know you talked about have 50 parks, hedge fund comes in, buys you out. Is there
Yep.
anything
So
else that you're looking at?
Yep. So basically, I'm doing a lot of land development right now, and in the type of land development I'm doing, because look, I'm already, it goes back to what the ABCs, the 1, 2, 3s, the foundation, the wholesaling. So when we send out all this marketing, we get a lot of people that own land that are 70 years old with 20, 30 acres, right? And most people don't know what to do with that. Well, I've been taking those pieces of land and partnering up with developers. And then what we're doing is we're putting in the infrastructure, the lights, the sewer, the roads, the infrastructure, and then we're selling it off to these big old builders like D.R. Horton, right? I don't know if you know D.R. like some of these bigger, and we're just selling, and that's what I've been doing. That's been my play for, we got 2 land development deals that we're working on right now that we should finish by the end of the year. So that's one play that I'm doing now. As far as what I'm doing beyond that, I think mobile home park investing is just, I'm gonna scale that thing as hard as I can, as fast as I can, and I would like to try to time the top, and I think that top will probably be 5 or 6 years from now before the crash comes. I'm hoping that I can get out at a 5-6 cap, maybe another 5. I own 8 parks right now. Maybe I'll have another 40 by then, and I can sell off at a really low. But that's kind of my game plan, right? In the interim, I'm just going to keep on buying right, using the wholesale
Yep.
model of going direct to seller. If I keep on buying cheap, even if I get caught with my pants down, if I bought cheap enough, guess what? I'm hedged against the market volatility, because if I bought at 50 cents on the dollar and we lose 20-30% value, and I own it at 50 cents on the dollar, you know what? Who cares? I'll sell it I'll get out at 60. I didn't lose. But if you're buying at 80-90 cents on the dollar, like I used to back in 2010 and 12, you're playing with fire.
Yeah, absolutely. Great. So Chris, how old are you?
39.
Okay, you're 39. So let's say your 6-year plan comes to fruition, which I have a good feeling it will. You're 45 years old. You've cashed out. Were you going to go live in the Isle of Man? Go live in the Philippines? Go buy an island? Like, what's the plan after that?
Well, man, if the economic and the political environment doesn't get any better, I might try to move to Mars.
You could partner up with Elon Musk.
Yeah. So no, I mean, no. Look, I'm an entrepreneur. Like, I've always got to have something to do. I'll never retire, like, ever.
Yeah.
I always have to have something. I would drive my wife crazy if I didn't have something to grind at, or because I like the game. Money is fun, making money, but the real passion behind everything is the game behind it. And it's no different than, everybody looks at business as business. It's not business. It's just a sport that you get paid for, right? And that's all it is. It's just, business is a sport, and I like the game, and I'm going to continue to play the game. I think if I cash out and make a big play, I'd probably start a hedge fund, or maybe something of that nature. That would be the next level of that. And who knows? I don't know. That's what I'm thinking with.
Okay. I love it. I'm always interested in what people's long-term visions and goals are, and just kind of like where they're headed. So it's awesome that you've got that kind of crystallizing in your mind and in your plans. Hey guys, if you are interested in real estate investing like I am, this is definitely something I plan on doing more of in the future. I'm 57 years old, but like Chris, I just don't see myself retiring. The game is the fun of it, plus teaching my children this game and having a legacy with my children who then teach my grandchildren. And that to me is also a game. But if you guys want to connect with someone who's being pragmatic, being smart, thinking about the future, I'm telling you, Chris Rood has got his head together. He's got a game plan together. Go to Chris Rood, ROOD.com. Connect up with him on social media. Invest with him if you see it makes sense for you. Get his materials.
And look, I have a free book, thesourceofthedeal.com. It kind of tells my story and, about being the source of the deal, which is all about wholesaling. And follow me on social media, Chris Rood Entrepreneur on Facebook. I do a live once or twice a week, just going over different aspects of real estate. And follow me at Real Estate Rood on Instagram. I'm showing deals that I'm buying every day. Like, I bought a trailer yesterday for $5,000, right? I'm gonna get $800 a month for that trailer. And because people think it's not real. People think that Chris, there's no way people will sell you that cheap. Like, how are you doing that? There's no way. You must be stealing from. You must be lying to them. No, you just don't know what you don't know. There's people out there that they're not worried about the equity in their property. They have a problem so big they just need to sell now, and they're willing to trade out equity for a quick sale. And that's my customers.
There you go. You definitely know your market. Hey, Chris, thank you so much for taking your time to be on the show. I learned a lot. I'm excited about your future. Maybe about 6 months or a year, when things develop, maybe some new opportunities grow. I'd love to have you back on and kind of tell us, how you're developing your brand, new opportunities that you're creating, and, just teach some people about, how to be smart with their money.
Absolutely. No, I'd love to come on in another 6 months, a year. Just ping me. For sure, man. Absolutely.
Great. Hey guys, this has been another edition of Growth Driven, and I'm always attempting to bring to you the brightest people, smart minds who are doing smart things with their business and even smarter things with their money. I'm trying to bring value. Hope you enjoy it. If so, please subscribe, like it, share it, and most of all, hook up with Chris Rood and make your dreams come true when it comes to real estate investing. Once again, Chris, thank you so much for your time and your wisdom today.
Appreciate you, man. It was
All
a
right.
blast.
Yeah. All right, guys. See you and take care and be well.